Venice, Italy is a beautiful city. Unfortunately, it's also known for pickpocket! They got me. It happened. So after traveling so many countries, living in Paris, France, being in India, being in Thailand, being in Vietnam, Venice, Italy. Venice, Italy, I got pickpocketed. And it's not the way you think. It's not the traditional pickpocket, yet my pocket was picked. My pocket was picked legally in Venice, Italy. No one cares. No one minds because it's allowed. And I'm going to tell you how. And it all starts at a place that is a little bit expected. And stay tuned to the end because I'm going to give you my rant about travel in cities like Venice. But for now, let's get back to it. So it started at, of course, the train station. Now, when you're at the train station, you will hear alerts about pickpockets, right?
Beware of pickpockets in case of need.
They tell you it happens here. We know there are lots of pickpockets. So I was careful, okay? When I was at the train station, I had my phone tucked away. My wallet is tucked away. I'm being super careful, super cautious to make sure I don't get pickpocketed. I bought my ticket. I was going just 10 minutes, right? 10-minute train ticket costs a little over €1, not much money, okay? I buy my ticket, there's no problem. I'm traveling with 3 other people today. So this all just happened today. So I'm traveling with 3 other people, there are 4 of us. It came to like $5 for this ticket to come here into the main city, the main area of Venice. We get on the train. Everything's still intact. We're not yet pickpocketed, but you know it's coming. We look at the station. Now it's really confusing because there are tons and tons of trains all going different places, of course, all with their different tracks, and we just bought our ticket, so we need to hurry and get to the station because you buy a train ticket. So like in Paris, France, you can get a ticket and it's just sort of good for that line. Whatever train you get on, like it doesn't really matter for some things. Even these quick little trains is specific to this one train. It's okay, whatever. We look at the track number and we rush there. So we rush to the track 11. Okay, I'm mad at that track too. So we rush to track 11. We get there. We get on the train. It says the destination where it's going. We sit down. This is when the problem starts. We sit down. I think everything's okay. The guy comes around to check the tickets. His name was Alejandro. Alejandro was very smiley, very polite. But Alejandro was very serious, and Alejandro is the one who picked my pocket. So let me explain how the trains work in Italy. Now, of course, I'm telling you this after the fact. I did not know this before I got on the train. But there are 2 main things that a tourist has to be aware of when they take the train in Italy. Number 1, you buy a ticket that is for a specific time, track, destination, everything like that, okay? But before you get on the train, you have to validate your train ticket, which is like put it into a special machine that's for validation. The second thing you have to do is that before you get on the train, you have to check the number of the train. You can't just look at the destination and the track number. This is what went wrong with me. So apparently the way things work is that if you take So let me back it up. The train we got on was going to the right destination. It was on the right track. It was at the right time, but it was a different train number. Same cost, same price for the ticket, everything like that was the same, but it left actually maybe 1 minute early. For this mistake, take a guess as to what you think the fee would be. Just if someone gets on a train going to the same destination, you know, same price, same track, same whatever, what do you think would happen? A tourist, just, you know, could be an innocent mistake, could happen to anybody. 120 euros. 120 euro fee for that mistake. Now, why is this a pickpocket? Why is this a scam and not just, you know, a mistake that you have to pay for? Here's why it is a pickpocket, and here's why it is a legal scam that the trains are running. Because they know that tourists are often confused. they know. And by the way, he was looking for tourists to get on that train, because you know why I know that? I took a train during the week, like a local train that a lot of locals take, and no one even came by to check anybody's ticket. I took it an hour going, an hour coming back from Venice, completely quiet, absolutely no issues. On this train, on a weekend, when there are lots of tourists, they're targeting people who look like tourists, who look like they may not know where they're going, and they're looking for mistakes. Okay? So that, number one. And number two, the fact that Alejandro told us that, yeah, these mistakes happen all the time, that they know. So if the company knows that tourists are making mistakes and knows that they're benign mistakes, by the way, these trains are running all the time, why don't they try to help us out? Why don't they try to fix it and try, instead of taxing us, instead of scamming us and picking our pockets for 120 euros for a $5 ticket? 120 fee for a $5 ticket. I got robbed. Point blank period. I got robbed in Venice. And I don't think it's okay. I'm here at the airport and I'm still thinking about this. Because the thing about it is that the trains, they really want to have it both ways. Like, the system really doesn't make sense, and it is really only designed to catch people. And I say it's targeting tourists in particular because tourists, these rules are not intuitive. Okay, there's no way that a tourist would know and understand and get everything exactly right. So yes, it affects locals too. Yes, it affects Italians as well, but like, tourists barely stand a chance, right? You're going to do something wrong. And here's why it doesn't make sense logically. The fact that you have to validate the ticket, but also be on the exact correct train doesn't make sense. So here's what I mean. If the tickets were just open for travel, right? You buy a ticket and it's just valid between certain stations, and it would make sense. You need to validate your ticket before you get on, because if you don't validate your ticket, which is just punch it, right, to show that it's been used. So if you don't do something to show that the ticket has been used, you could travel on that same ticket for multiple times, right? You could buy a ticket once, no conductor ever comes by, and you just keep using that same ticket because you didn't validate it. If you had a different system where if the tickets are set to a specific day and time, then what's the validation value, right? So they're getting it both ways. They want you to have to validate, but they also want a set ticket time. It just doesn't make sense. So if the time is set, then fine. You shouldn't have to validate. And if you have to validate, then the ticket should be open. So right now, they're just doing it on both ends, right? They're just making sure they have set up a system that will absolutely catch people and absolutely bring fines. This is the strategy of that system. The system is designed to create fines. It's designed to catch people out. Because why on earth should you have to validate a ticket that's timed? And if a ticket is open, you know, you should just be able to sit wherever you want. Like, what's the big deal? You know, like, if you pay for a ticket that's between a certain stop, if it's the right price, take the ticket, take the train, call it a day. What's the problem? What's the need for all these fines if you're just not trying to scam people? The thing about scams like this and these sort of legal pickpockets is that it just sort of leaves a nasty taste in the mouth, you know? Makes you kind of feel not so great about the city, which is a bummer, you know, because when you come somewhere, you want to feel good about the place, you know, you want to have a good time and you want to follow the rules. Like, I'm actually a rule follower in general. I mean, not always. Not always, but I try to respect rules, especially when I'm in another country. But here it's like, where's the crime? That's what I don't get. Where's the crime? You know? It feels so petty. And for something so petty and so innocent and so simple to add up and to cost so much just doesn't seem right. Right? Like, a €1 ticket can cost you 30 euros when I can get it. Like, those kind of fees you can get in France, but like if you get on without a ticket, right? Like, so basically if you're a stowaway. So I get that sort of thing. If you're a stowaway and you get on a train with no ticket, yeah, okay, you tried to run a scam yourself, so the fine is 30 euros. But in this case, it's like, no, you had a ticket, you were going to the right destination, it was the same class of train, it was leaving within minutes of that train. Do you know what I mean? It was leaving from the same platform. There really is no crime here. Like, there's a simple mistake, but like, no assigned seats on the train, like, that costs 30 per ticket. That's 120 euros for 4 people. It just doesn't feel right. It feels nasty. feels mean-spirited. And because it's not necessary. Like, not everyone has that system. That system is not required. That system is only designed to milk money out of tourists, to milk money out of people who don't know any better, out of people who make a simple mistake. You know, like, it doesn't have to be this way, right? It really doesn't. Hey, and so here's my rant about cities like Venice, cities that have like a lot of tourists. I'm kind of getting over it in general. Like, so I went to Barcelona and I started to feel this way. If you haven't seen it, check out my video on Barcelona. It's like, I don't know if I did 10 or 12 weird things about Barcelona. One of the things on that list is that people in Barcelona don't like tourists. And I'm not just saying that, it's not my opinion. Like, they have signs all over saying tourists go home, right? It's not subtle. It's not like something that I'm inventing, right? So cities like Barcelona, cities like Venice, they resent tourists a bit, right? They're not all happy that we're here. And so why visit cities like this that just want to take advantage of us, that don't appreciate tourism? You know, like, we were on, I was on a shuttle with my husband, and he speaks some Italian. And we were talking to this one guy who was like a local, and he said, yeah, our city has been invaded. There's a boat going by. He said, our city has been invaded by tourists, right? And so, like, that's how some people feel. They feel like their city has been invaded, and maybe it has, right? So I'm not disputing it. Maybe Barcelona has been invaded. Maybe Venice has been invaded, and I unwittingly have been a part of the problem. So maybe we need to stop going to these cities, like, truly, right? These cities that are so overly touristic, where they're just taking advantage of people at this point. They resent tourists. They're mad we're here. And so now even the government structures, like the trains, are designed to take advantage of tourists. You can get your pocket picked outside the station. You can get your pocket picked while you're sitting on the train from the conductor. You can get all sorts of excessive fees at restaurants and other places. You can get all sorts of crazy excessive fees all over. I'm kind of not into it. So I'm saying all that to say, but not everywhere is overly touristy. Not everywhere is trying to take advantage of tourists. But maybe as we plan our travels, as we plan our trips, maybe it's something to think about, right? Maybe it's something to think about, to not just go to that place where everyone has that photo on Instagram and it's so hot and it's so cool and I want to get that picture too. Like, maybe forget that place, right? Like, maybe let's go somewhere really unique and different. Let's go somewhere that's not overly touristic already, right? I went to Myanmar. It was amazing. Not so many tourists, you know? Like, maybe we need to find more places like that. Or maybe we need to make the most of our places at home. I know that's hard to say. I love travel. My channel's called Roaming Around the World. I like being around the world. But I'm really starting to rethink a lot of these cities. But I'm also just feeling really salty because I got robbed for 120 euros and it was kind of my fault. Because I didn't see the train number. I didn't care. I saw it said the right city. It was the right time. It was the right track. I got on the train. Maybe that's on me. But it happened. I'm kind of upset about it because it was $120. It's a big fee for a mistake for a $5 trip. So tell me what you think. Maybe you don't agree with me. That's fine. You don't have to. Tell me what you think about this situation. If you've ever had any sort of a scam situation, pickpocket overseas or in your home country. I'm curious. Tell me about it. Alright, that's it for now. So as to not end on too much of a negative note, I will show you some pictures from my travels throughout Italy. Wasn't all bad, but watch out for the pickpockets.